And we will begin now. So my name is Juliette Bryant and I'm a nutritionist and an author and a mother of 2, soon to be 3 children. And my mission is to empower people with simple techniques to really enhance their health and well-being, to help them to thrive. Because ultimately, for me, I want to thrive in life. I don't just want to merely survive. And I think this is the key, isn't it? We need to empower ourselves with tools so that we can really thrive in all aspects of our being. So this is what this is going to be about. We're going to be talking about how we can tune in to ourselves at a deeper level so that we can really start to empower our health and well-being. From when we're young, we're taught to disempower ourselves. We're taught to not listen to our bodies, not listen to the inner wisdom that we have, that we all have. We're told to eat what we're given. We're told to eat when we're told to. And these things are the starting points where we start to really block our intuition when it comes to food. Ultimately, what we have to remember is that we are more than just physical beings. And this really is key. We are intuitive beings, we're emotional beings, we're mental beings, and we're spiritual beings. We are also physical beings. They all go in one. And if we just look at only one aspect of these things, then we are neglecting the whole part of ourselves. So, a really important thing when we're looking at our health and well-being is to actually sit down and think about what we want. What do we actually want for our health? What do we actually want for our being? So I'd like you to take a second to actually think about this. What you want for your health. And if you want to share this, then please feel free to. What do you actually want for your health and your well-being? And when we actually start to dig deep into this, we can start to unravel patterns and programmings and belief systems that maybe have been passed down to us. But ultimately, if we don't set an intention and we don't know what we want, then how are we ever going to get there? If you just set out in a car on a journey with no destination, you don't. So a really important thing I feel when we're looking at our health and our well-being is to think about what we want. What you want out of your life in regards to your physical, your emotional, your mental and your spiritual being. What do you want out of your health? Great, someone said to be in balance and to support healthy mind, body and spirit. Okay, so that's a really good one, to be in balance, isn't it? Well, what does it mean to be in balance? What does it mean for you to be in balance? Because for each of us, it's different, and we need to start drilling down to actually what these things mean so that we can start to take action, because you cannot take action without knowing what you're trying to take action on. So this is really a key aspect and something that you can think about in later times. What does it mean to be balanced? What does it mean for you to be happy and healthy in your being? For me, balance comes with having time off, having time out in nature, having time with my family, having time sharing what I love to do, which is my work, having time making food, creating new dishes, having time exploring. All of this is, for me, is part of balance. And when I'm doing these things, it really adds to my general well-being, to my state of happiness. So these are aspects that we need to look at. A really good thing to do that I find very helpful is to write a chart of what you want to achieve. Okay, so you have all your things listed on one side, all of the positive things that you want to bring into your life. And then on the other side, you have all the things that are blocking you from achieving that. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about this. what is blocking you? First of all, what do you want to achieve? And we've started talking about that. So maybe balance, maybe support for your health, whatever it may be. List these positive aspects that you want to bring into your life. And then on the other side, write down what is blocking this from actually happening. What is blocking you from achieving these things? So if it's balance, it might be that you're working too much. That might be one of the things that's blocking you feel from balance. Or it might be that you don't get out enough, you're on your computer too much. Whatever it may be, write down those things that are blocking you from feeling in balance or feeling those positive traits that you want to bring into your life. And just sketch them down now, and you can go into this in a deeper way when the session's finished. You can take a lot of time on this because it's a very, very important part of tuning in to your intuition for nutrition. So we know what we want now. We know what's blocking us. So now what we have to do is we have to really start to come up with an action plan for how we move forward. Because again, if you know what's stopping you from achieving happiness and health and well-being, then it's easy to start making those action steps forward. So for me, one of the key things when it comes to moving my life forward and having positive health and well-being is how I start my day. This is a really key thing, because if you start your day in a good frame, in a good way, then it generally moves forward in that positive tone. Anyone else find that? So for me, how I have to start my day, well, first of all, I get up and I clean my mouth. This is a key. And this is actually key to our intuition, to our healthy gut, to listening to ourselves on a deeper level. It's releasing and removing toxic buildup. Now, over the night, we detoxify. And those toxins, most of them, are placed into our mouth. So that's why when you wake up and you have that horrible feeling in your mouth, it's maybe a bit dry, a bit coated. These are the toxins that your body has been eliminating as you sleep that are placed in your mouth. So an ideal thing to do is to get up and do some oil pulling. So oil pulling is where you put some coconut oil in your mouth and you do this. Ideally, you do this for 15 minutes. Start off with 5 if you've never done it before, and then slowly grow, because otherwise it will seem a little bit daunting, but it's easy for this to grow very, very quickly. My tip is I have coconut oil sat in my bathroom and a spoon ready for me and a little paper cup to spit the coconut oil in afterwards. And this is the way that I find it easiest to do the oil pulling. So I get up, I'm half asleep, I go in the bathroom and in goes a spoon of coconut oil straight into the mouth. And I start oil pulling. And I do this, I then have a bath or a shower, I go to the toilet, I do all of that kind of stuff whilst doing this. And what you're doing is you're pulling out these nanobacteria, these little tiny particles that are in your mouth that are forming calcification, plaque organisms. And they're not only calcifying your mouth, but they're calcifying your body. Okay? So with this calcification, these nanobacteria, basically from the moment you're born, they're trying to return you to the earth. So they're prematurely aging you. So for me, a really important thing is that we start doing this oil pulling every morning. Someone says it feels that it allows them to connect to the angels more clearly. That's beautiful. And someone else has said they've been doing it since my talk in January. Great, well done. It really does make a big difference, and it's such a simple thing to bring in. But by cleaning out these nanobacteria that are trying to prematurely age us, we're also clearing out this calcification. But this calcification is not only clogging up our physical being, but it's clogging up our intuitive being. So if you think about a pipe that gets calcified, it's coated, isn't it? Now think about your pineal gland, the centre of your intuition. Think about that getting coated. Think about all of your meridian points, all these channels of energy through your body being calcified. We don't want that, do we? We want to get rid of that calcification so that all of our energy can stream and move quickly and clearly through us. So oil pulling is one of the ways that we can do this. Another really important thing when it comes to calcification and clearing these pathways is high sulfur content foods. So there's a few different high sulfur content foods that you can start to use that will help break down this calcification, these nanobacteria that are aging you. So onions and garlic are very sulfur-rich foods, so these are very good to break down this calcification. Also MSM, but MSM that comes from pine resin. So this will actually break down this calcification within the system. Okay, so this really is key. So I'm going to talk about this again. I'm just going to mention this bit again because I really feel this is such an important point. When we're looking at intuition and we're looking at our physical body and we're looking at really tuning in, if we are calcified and blocked up, how are we going to be able to allow our energy to circulate through our system? How are we really going to be able to let all the messages move through our being properly? So as I said, the oil pulling is one way that we can do this. We start to remove these nanobacteria from our mouth, but then going into a deeper level of it, decalcifying our system, we're looking at sulfur-rich foods. So we're looking at onions, we're looking at garlic, and we're looking at MSM. MSM from pine resin, not a synthetic version of MSM. Another thing that is very good when it comes to calcification and undoing this clogging up that we've got, this premature aging, is shilajit. Now, shilajit is something that I really love. It comes from the Himalayas, and it's this black tar that oozes out of the rocks. It's basically thousands of years old decayed plant matter. And it contains fulvic acid. Now, fulvic acid again breaks down these nanobacteria. So really, really good to decalcify your system, allowing your energy to start flowing through your body, both physically and energetically, so that you can start to get a deeper understanding of what is going on. Okay, so oil pulling in the morning, decalcifying your system, really important. Now, another thing that is really key when it comes to looking at really tuning into your intuition about what's going on in your physical body and what you need to support you is looking at your gut health. Now, this is something I've talked about a lot in different media. It is so fundamental to our health and well-being on all levels. Our gut controls 70% of our immune system. Not only that, it contains 80% of the serotonin production in our body. So serotonin is what we need to help keep us happy and balanced mentally. So if our gut is out of whack, our mental state is likely to be imbalanced. If our gut is out of balance, also our immune system will be out of balance. Our whole system will be lowered and reduced from where it should be. So this is really a key area that we have to look at and address. Not only that, but whatever's going on in your gut is being directly communicated to your brain. Okay? So this is quite a major thing. So every time you get those sugar cravings and you have that desire for carbs and that kind of thing, this might not be you. This might be the bad bacteria or parasites that are in your system that are sending messages through the 100 million neurons that are in your gut directly to your brain. So that little voice that comes up saying, feed me sugar, might not be your voice. In fact, it probably isn't your voice, your inner voice. It's probably these bacteria communicating to your brain. So in order to really start to listen on a deeper level to what our intuition is saying, we need to clean our gut out. We need to get the balance right in our gut so that we can start listening much clearer and having a clearer signal. So how do we do that? Well, there's some simple ways. The foods that are really good to remove bad bacteria are raw garlic, fresh basil, thyme, rosemary, Tulsi, which is holy basil. These are all really good ways to start killing off these bad bacteria. Also cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, all of these spices are amazing at reducing the bad bacteria load that is in our systems. And this should be something that is done on a regular basis, because the bad bacteria keep growing. They're like weeds in the garden. I mean, some weeds I love, so I always feel a bit funny using that analogy, because actually nettles, chickweed, dandelions are all amazing foods. But you get my drift. So we want to reduce these bad bacteria and we want to build up the good bacteria. So building up the good bacteria, we need to look at things like sauerkraut. We need to look at things like water kefir or coconut kefir. Miso is another good one, or probiotic pills. So these are a few ways that we can start to, or kombucha as well, or jun, start to get these good bacteria coming into our system. So we're looking at keeping our gut balanced. Also, another part of this is looking at seeing if we might have parasites. A lot of people have parasites in their system and don't even realise, and they could have been there for years and years and years. And what these parasites are doing is they're just stealing the top of all our nutrients, reducing your immune system function, and ultimately you've got another being living with you. What I find, and this is something that's quite interesting, is that a lot of the times if we have physical parasites, we also have energetic parasites. Let me say that again. If we have physical parasites, we quite often have energetic parasites, because what is going on in your physical body is a representation of what is going on in your emotional bodies and your energy bodies. So on a deeper level, we have to start thinking about this. When there is a physical problem, there is a deeper root to it. So if we can start to look at things in a slightly different way, we can start to tune in again to our intuition on a much clearer level to start unraveling what really is going on in our system. Is this making sense to everyone so far? I hope it is. So we're looking at decalcifying our body first of all. We're looking at rebalancing our gut bacteria. We're looking at setting our intentions, knowing actually what we want from our health. So that these are 3 key points for how we need to start really tuning into our body on a deeper level. And then after that, we can start getting into foods, what foods there are that are there to really support our intuition, to support us really growing and expanding. It was about nearly 2 years ago now that I was sat in a field at the Green Gathering. And it really came through. It was this download, this really strong download message came into me. And it was that we are all vibrating. Our cells vibrate like this. And we have trillions of cells in our body. I found out the other day that every cell in our body contains approximately 1 gigabyte of information. Okay? 1 gigabyte of information. And yet we have over a trillion cells. Think about all that information that is being stored in our bodies. It's incredible. But what we need to think about is that the vibratory rate of our cells is based not only on our energy, but on what we are feeding ourselves. And this is a really important thing. And in this field, this came to me that if we're working with energy, if we're working with intuition, if we're working on these different levels, on these deeper levels, and we're not increasing our physical vibration, we will not be able to hold that energetic state. Because you can only vibrate to the level that your cells are vibrating. So a lot of healers, intuitive people have a lot of health issues. Have you ever noticed that? A lot of spiritual people who are doing deep spiritual work have health issues. Quite often because they're neglecting their physical being. They're just doing things so that their physical being will keep going, but their main focus and frame of reference is in the higher realms. Now, this is all well and good, except for we are physical beings living in a physical body, and we cannot ignore this physical thing. Okay? This is our vessel. This is our vessel to actually succeed in our soul's purpose. So we have to support it. And if you are pulling in amazing energy from all around you, but you are not looking to actually support your physical being with high vibration foods, you will only be able to pull that in for so long before your nervous system fries. It's like if you've got a plug and that plug is in a different voltage from the area you're living. You plug it in, it might work for a little bit, but eventually zzz is what's going to happen. And this zzz that's happening will happen to your adrenals, will happen to your nervous system. It will burn you out. Okay? That's where the term burnout comes from. That overworking doesn't just have to be on a physical level. If we burn ourselves out, how are we going to achieve our soul's purpose? And I speak from experience because I have done this in my life so many times. I kept doing it. I would get this amazing rush of energy. I would do loads and loads and loads. Too much, in fact. I would burn out and I would crash. I would then have to recover and then it would do all over again. Yeah? All of this constantly. And it got to this point and I thought, why? Why do I have to keep getting sick? What am I not learning? And what I was not learning was that I wasn't matching the vibration of my life, of my food, with the energetic vibration that I was trying to bring in. So this is something that really, really is so important, because I want to help you all. I want you to help yourself to achieve your purpose, but without putting yourself into harm's way, without actually putting your physical being under strain, because it doesn't have to be. This life doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a challenge. If we support ourselves with self-love, with self-care, and with the right foods. So, certain things that we need to do and we need to look at if we're looking at supporting our nervous system and supporting our adrenals. Our adrenals are two little glands that sit on top of our kidneys, and these are the things that really work to deal with stress, to help reduce stress in our systems. So if we want to really support our adrenals, we need to feed them. Now, your adrenals, when they start to get run down and they need a break, they signal you. And they signal you to say, I'm tired. And when you have that signal that says, I'm tired, quite often, what do? We spike, we basically are like a whip on a horse. We say, no, you're not resting, keep on going. And we feed ourselves caffeine or sugar. And this spikes our adrenals instead of supporting our adrenals. So what we need to do is we need to actually feed our adrenals with good foods that will nourish us. So black foods nourish your adrenals. Some of my favourite things when we're looking at vibration and we're looking at increasing vibration and supporting this cellular vibration are the medicinal mushrooms. They are powerhouses. They connect us in, when we look at the medicinal mushrooms, to the mycelium, this web that is spread all over the planet. And I think this is a really amazing thing. But also the medicinal mushrooms are blacky brown in colour, and it's black foods that support the adrenals. So the medicinal mushrooms are very good to help you deal with stress in the system. So this is really important. Shilajit that I mentioned earlier is another one. Black cumin seeds are great for supporting the adrenals. Licorice root. So there are lots of different foods that we can use to really support our adrenals from this burnout. Also, when it comes to the nervous system, if you do get that frazzled bzzz kind of thing going on, vanilla is very good to soothe that. It's a bit like someone coming over and just unruffling all those edges and just going, it's okay, It's okay, and just stroking you. And that's what vanilla does to your nervous system. So a great food to incorporate in just to calm and soothe your being down. As is chamomile, again, calming and soothing food. Someone's just said, I travel a lot, and are there other cultures that I look at too when it comes to, are you talking about the vibration and food? I have looked a lot at the Ayurvedic system, and a lot of the foods that I'm talking about come from the Himalayas, come from the Ayurvedic system of medicine. I've spoken to Native Americans about foods, but most of my experience, I pick things up as I go, and it's through my own application with a lot of things that I've learnt so much. It's through that self-exploration. I think that when we look at the South Americans as well, some of the food that comes from there is really incredible, like cacao, an amazing high vibration food. But there are high vibration foods all around us, you know. At the moment, nettles are out in abundance, and you can see the zinging life on them. And this is a brilliant high vibration food to incorporate in. It's so packed full of nutrients, and you can kind of feel its potency in its sting if it gets you, can't you? You can feel that real zing that it gives you. So this is a really good food for us to be incorporating in as well. So there are so many foods out there that are high vibration, but really when we're looking at vibrations of foods, what we want to look at to simplify things is that we're having living food. We are energetic beings, as I've said. We are filled with life force. And if we eat dead food, does that have life force in it? No. So how is that going to increase our life force? Well, it can't. So this is something really important that we need to think about. We need to think about eating living food, live food. You know, grow sprouts. It's an amazing thing to have sprouts. You can put fresh life force on your food all the time, and you don't have to have a large amount of space. You don't have to have a garden for this. You can do it on your countertops. So start sprouting. Really easy to do. Grow some herbs. Again, you can grow them on windowsills. You don't have to have a lot of space. And then you sprinkling that fresh life force on all of your food, so that everything you have is charged with that living energy of freshly picked food. So this is a really important thing that we start to look at. Where are we getting this life force from? Where are we getting this living food from? Because if everything you eat is cooked or dead, you are not getting life force going into you so much. Yes, you can get life force when you go out and walk. You can get life force from yoga. You can get life force from meditating, from breathing. All of this is life force coming into your system. But we need to look into the nutrition coming in that is feeding that chi, that life force, that energy system within us. So these really are the key points, and a lot of the superfoods I'm talking about are all in my book Superfoods and How to Use Them, and it goes into descriptions about them. So really, when we come to it, I'm going to summarise again because it's really good to recap. First thing, set your intention. What is it you are trying to achieve with your health and your life? Second thing, what is blocking you from achieving that? Thirdly, let's clear out our channels. Let's decalcify. Let's get rid of the toxic load in our system. And then we need to look at cleaning our gut, making sure that our gut isn't filled with parasites, it's not overrun with bad bacteria. So the messages of what you want that are being conveyed from your gut up to your brain are clear and concise and accurate, and not muddied with bad bacteria and parasite needs. And then we need to look at what are we consuming? What are we actually putting in us? Because this will all affect how we can listen to our intuition, the vibration of our whole being. There's a belief that as we evolve as spiritual beings, our needs nutritionally change. A lot of people, as they evolve energetically and spiritually turn away from eating meat, because they become more sensitive to the stress that's in that food, to the hormones, to the trauma in that food. So this is something to bear in mind as well. If you are consuming meat, then you need to know where that's coming from. You need to know how that's been killed. You need to know what is going on with it. And it's a harsh subject, and it's a hard subject. It's a very emotive subject, isn't it? But it's a very important one, because where your food comes from, how it's lived, how it's grown, how it's killed, all goes in to you. It's all energy ultimately. And so if you are interested in energetics, and you are interested in increasing your energetics and your intuition, you need to be aware of what you are consuming. Same with any dairy, anything like that. You need to know what is going on. We need to start being conscious beings. I'm not saying everyone has to switch to a vegetarian or vegan diet, but we need to become conscious about what is being consumed, because this is ultimately the key. What we choose to do individually is totally up to us, and I totally respect anyone's decisions on what is right for them in that moment. Totally respect it. But all I'm asking you to do is to take a deeper look, because what you consume affects you on a cellular level. What you consume affects you on an energetic level. It affects you on all levels. So just be aware of this, because it is very, very important to start bringing this into your life if you really want to increase where you're at in the moment. So these really, I feel, are the most important principles to intuition and nutrition. Another one thing that I want to talk about before I finish is water, because this is a really important one as well. We are over 70% water, aren't we? And the water that we consume affects the water of our being. If you haven't seen Dr. Emoto's work, have a look. The Hidden Messages in Water. Beautiful, beautiful book. Beautiful images. A really amazing thing to look at. And this is a really useful thing to start to look at, because once you start to realise that water has structure, water contains energy, water holds memory, then what you need to think about is take that to a next step. Well, if we're over 70% water, then our water holds memory, our water holds energy, our water has a structure to it, okay? So if our water has a structure to it, then the water we're consuming should be good water, so that it's helping our water. The other thing that we need to think about when it comes to water and our being and the memories and emotions stored in us are our thoughts when we're eating and drinking. How many of us sit down to eat, or don't even sit down to eat, but are eating and we're not even conscious of what we're consuming? We're not even conscious of our thoughts in the moment of consuming, because those thoughts are being absorbed with your food. So a lot of people are always worried about their weight. It's quite a big subject, isn't it? People's weight. So a lot of the time when people are eating, their thoughts are, is this going to make me fat? Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? What is this doing? These thoughts are not good. Now, of course, we can't always be conscious 100% of the time, can we, when we're eating? It's sometimes very hard. But if we can be aware to be more conscious, it's all stepping stones, isn't it? Sometimes, especially now I'm nearly 6 months pregnant, sometimes I just have to eat, and sometimes I don't think. But I am trying to be more aware in every moment when I'm thinking. I try to take that moment before I eat or I drink to be thankful for what is coming in. So never beat yourself up. Never feel guilty that you're not doing things 100%, because it doesn't matter. We're not perfect beings, okay? But we're striving to grow. So everything is a stepping stone. And if you go 2 steps back, it doesn't matter. Make sure you're moving one step forward tomorrow or in the next moment. Yeah? Never feel guilty and beat yourself up. It's not worth it, because that guilt is doing more harm than that moment of unconsciousness. So be aware of your thoughts. As I was saying, if you're on a diet, quite often all you can think about is this going to make me fat? And guess what? Because you're having that thought, it will make you fat. Whereas actually, if you forget about that and you actually just tune into, is this making me feel great? Then that's going to work on a much deeper level. And taking that moment to be grateful for your food, for whatever that food is, really will have so much more of a profound effect than the nutrients in that food. Having that moment of gratitude is really, really key. Because, and I love saying this, it's something that, and it always makes me a bit choked up, but if we are grateful for things, if people show gratitude to us, like I've just had some beautiful gratitude from all of you, which is making me well up. But if we have this gratitude coming in, flowing out, this gratitude moving through our being, then we can glow and we can vibrate at a higher level. And this is the same for the earth. This is the same for the food. This is the same for all of nature. We all work on this same energetic structure. The more you are give thanks and are grateful for your food, the more the vibration of that food increases. So yes, eat high vibration food, but why not increase that vibration even more by like charging it up? Yeah? Charging it up with supercharged water. Like, let's be supercharged beings. Yeah, let's be vibrant beings who are living our purpose, with ease and grace, without struggle. Because that's the key. Ease and grace and no struggle. Yes, sometimes we have to go through a bit of a struggle as we move to the next level. But if we think about it's all got to be struggle, it's all got to be hard, it doesn't. It can be joyful. Each moment can be joyful. So that's the message I'm going to leave you with today. Joy and gratitude, because that's the most important thing. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed joining me. If you would like to dive deeper into this stuff, then starting on Tuesday, I'm running a 10-week e-course all about this and really diving deep into this. And as a thank you all for listening, if you type in the code HEALING on my website, then you can get it for the reduced price of $297 as opposed to $597. It's a 10-week program meeting every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. And you will get recordings as well to keep forever, handouts, and recipes. And as an extra bonus, on the 20th of June, for anyone on the course, you can join me in Glastonbury for a walk to the tour, a meditation and a superfood feast. The session will also be pre-recorded for that week, so everyone will have that, whether you are there physically or not, for the solstice celebration, which is an added bonus. So I just wanted to share that all with you. If you do want to go deeper, then do let me know. And if anyone struggles with money, then please let me know, because I can work out some instalment program as well. So thank you all for joining me. If you'd like to follow me more, then you can follow me on Facebook, which is julietteskitchen.tv, or my website, which is the same, julietteskitchen.tv. Lots of love to you all, and good luck on your journey. Take care.